All right. Well, welcome to Fried on Live. I guess my video will populate any second now. Amy, can you see me on your side?
I can see you.
All right. Well, maybe just on my side. No worries. We'll continue to move forward. Well, let me share my screen once again, and then we'll dive right into what we have to talk about today. Okay, we're here for Fried Live, and so hopefully, if you were wondering, are you in the right place? I would say that you are. Fried Live, another episode this month, and then this month we will be focusing on back to school. What Microsoft tools that you can use at the beginning of this year? Because Amy, I don't know if you've heard, but all the year while we've been training, like let's say it's the second part of the year or the end of the year, it's like I wish I would have known these things when the year started, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
And so we want to dive into these pieces. We thought this year we would know that we're coming off of the pandemic, like it's not over yet, but we're going into some things where Microsoft has moved in warp speed to give us some things that would help us as we're gearing up for back to school. So before we like go any further, we just want to let you know who we are and then how we're able to help you in this process. I am Stephen Stone. You can see my credentials on the screen. The major piece I would ask for you to do is to follow me at Magu Chef. And I have my colleague Amy Store here with me today. Amy, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Amy Store, and I would love to also get a follow from you on Twitter so we can connect in that space and learn from each other.
Yeah, so if you connect with both of us, you will be learning from two of the greatest, if I can say the greatest EdTech educators in the world. Okay. Now, who we are friEdTech. We kind of changed our name. You may know known us as Fried Technology, but since everything is like the Twitterverse, just shorten it up in a few characters. We're now known as Fried Tech. So we're an education professional development company. So you can reach out to us in any and everything that has to do with PD. We know we're here today about Microsoft, but reach out to us for Google and any other tech tool you may have, and we'll be sure to get back with you to give you the best training ever. We do have some synchronous learning, like today, could be a synchronous virtual opportunity, but we also have some face-to-face opportunities, and we would love to come to your school, to your district, to your community center to work with educators to grow them in a way that education can be engaging and fun for students. We also have Fried Online, which is our asynchronous learning school, where you can get a barrage of courses that interest you. And the best thing about it is, once you start our courses, you have about 10 months to complete them at your own pace. But you would say at our own pace, right? But you have a little 10 months to get it done in 10 months, or it's going to go bye bye. So you want to take advantage of those opportunities. To find out how to get to those opportunities, you can go straight to our website and just open up a web browser and just simply type fried.tech. And then that will take you to our website, or you can use the long website URL at the bottom of the screen here. But for short, you can do fried.tech and it will navigate you to the same area. Follow us on our socials. Give us a tweet out like today, hashtag Fried Fan. Or if you're going to be viewing this from Facebook later on, please tweet us out what you learned, what excited you, hashtag Fried Fan. And since we are here and we're talking about Microsoft, you also want to follow Microsoft as well. Microsoft is pretty much on every social media platform imaginable right now. They may be missing a few, but those that where we have identified where our educators are, where our partners are, we're on those platforms. So please follow Microsoft as well. If you want to know the latest and the greatest, now you probably won't get to the level where Amy and I or as far as the knowledge base, because we are in some special community groups that they let us know some things probably before it even hits these platforms, but at least you'll be in the know. All right. And so, Amy, here's what we'll be focusing on today as far as a goal that will lead us. Okay, Microsoft Teams, we'll kind of touch in that area a bit, and then we'll touch on the learning tools. But Amy, you see that third section there where it says hashtag next level? That's pretty not something that you and I will cover. But our participants, those who are connected with us, we will send this slide to you, especially with the links where you can glean from that, and that'll be when we say next level, hashtag next level. That's going to take you to the next level, to enrich you, to grow you at your own pace, at your own leisure. Because we only have about an hour today, and when I'm kind of looking at the time, it's like 4:07. So we roughly have maybe about 53 minutes left, approximately. So we have a lot of things that we want to cover and that we want to show you. But for the main part of it is Microsoft Teams. We want to show you the new Reflect app, and then touch on reading progress and reading coach. Then moving on over to the learning tools, we'll touch on OneNote Live Captions, the Math Solver app, and Immersive Reader. And then the rest, as they are hyperlinked, we will send that to you. So before we begin, I would like to just see how do you feel about the start of school? It says name emotions with the feelings monster by number. And if you're watching this in the video, you may just want to just pause this at this time to see where you are mentally with the start of school. And you may want to be honest with yourself here. It's almost like a self gauge. And if you would like to have this while you're pondering on your number, if you would like to have this poster in your classroom, and maybe it could be a gauge what you can use with your students, don't be afraid. Reach out to us through Twitter, or you can send us an email, and we will send this poster to you and get acquainted with you and how you will be using this in your classroom. Okay, let us move on. The reason why we showed you that screen to get that gauge on the reflection side piece, this reflect monster poster piece is embedded within Microsoft Teams and OneNote. And building this within Microsoft Teams, you would see that we're showing you on the screen a teacher view and a student view. Now, of course, too, you as far as the teacher and student will see this land on whichever Teams channel that you would like for your reflect to fall on. But since we want to go live into this session and dive into this, I just want to let you know that reflect. The Reflect app is found in Microsoft Class, Teams Class, and is also found in Microsoft Teams Staff. So, in other words, if you create a class team, you can get the Reflect app, and it should be showing right here in your anchor bar here. Not only that, but remember we said it's found in staff. Staff, it should pop up at the same way as well. But it's real easy now. At first, we had to go and install it, but we can get past that now. In every class that you create, Reflect will be found in this particular area here. So when I click on Reflect, just to kind of walk through it fairly quickly, when I click on Reflect, what I can do is create a check-in. And when I create my check-in as a teacher, I can go and start with these particular questions here, or it gives me a question stem. How are you feeling about blank? And then you can enter whatever title you're going to enter. And so, Amy, what question, what do you want me to ask here?
Let's see. You're gonna go with the fourth one.
Yeah, let's just go with the fourth one.
Okay. How are you feeling about the beginning of the school year?
Say okay, so we're keeping with that. The beginning of, oh, if I can spell right today, like really? Beginning of school. So let's just say it's that. Now, what's so great about this is, and the enhancement that came, I can select here about the, okay, it's not, maybe, and I like this. You see, it found a correction for me just that quick. Let's just keep it there. But here we will see that what can students see? So before you try to rush to put this out, by default it says the students can see the responses, but not names. Okay, so the students can see what other peers in they how other peers in their classrooms or their peers in the classroom are feeling at the moment about this particular question. Or for me personally, I may just want to have a gauge as the instructor just to see what's going on, and no one can see the other person's response as they are responding. So no responses and no names. They just submit it, and then I, as a teacher on the back end, can see it, or my co-teacher could see it. But what I love about this, Amy, is yes, I can go ahead and click next. And then I can click how long do I want to have it up? How long do I want to have it active? My duration. So once it's posted, do I want it up for 5 minutes, 2 hours, 8 hours, 24 hours, 3 days, or 1 week? It's up to you. How long do you want this up as a gauge? And then here you can say what channel you would like to have it posted on based on the channels that you have listed over here that you've already have created. So I'm going to say exit ticket because maybe you want it to be as an exit ticket so you can see how the room is feeling. But you can also do this at the beginning as a warm up, and if we say exit, then it may be like an entry ticket or whatever the case may be, or it may be midday class or mid lesson, how they feeling or how they are feel about their learning in the moment, right? So we continue on. Let's go on. But what I love here, they put this here. I like this. They put this right on the screen, demo as a student, because at first, Amy, I had you to go in after I send it out to do it back and forth. But I love this now. They put a student demo view. So then that way, what this does is it shows me my feelings. It keeps tracks of my feeling. Now, this is a demo, but if I was in live, it keeps track. How was I feeling on August 11th? How was I feeling on the 9th? How was I feeling on the 8th? It kind of keeps a track for me uh, where my mood was. I don't want to call this a mood board, but this kind of like tell my flow of my moods each day. And then here's the actual question that was given to me or looking to be given to me. How do I feel about the school year? Maybe I'm sad. And in me being sad, I can go down and then also pick an adjective. If that's what we call them, Amy.
Yeah,
Adjective,
I think
descriptive
so. Yeah.
words. Okay. So adjectives. I'm feeling what? Uh Stressed about the beginning of school. But not only that, you see, it gives me stress. It gives me an emotional monster because if I move my mouse, it's going to take it over. But what does stress mean? See? Or how about I'm feeling nervous? So it not only gives them that adjective, but it gives them a small definition.
I love
Oh
that.
man, I love that too. If we were in the class, like it would say, the teacher say, use your context clues. Well, maybe it's giving me my, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed. So it gives the emotional character and it also gives the description where so students can better express themselves. So I would say it's an expressive language. All right. How you feel about that, Amy?
I love it. And I love that it's there for teachers too, because I discovered Microsoft Teams when I was an instructional coach. And so
Hmm.
the people that I work closely with would have been adult learners. And I love that you would be able to use this in Microsoft Teams for the staff, because it just works so well with social emotional learning, and our teachers
Yes.
deserve support in that area as well. So I just love it.
Yes, yes. And you brought something up because maybe we're coming into a training at the end of the day. And then
Hmm.
maybe this is my starter, maybe my icebreaker to kind of loosen up. And then you as a presenter can gauge just to see where everyone is.
Yeah.
So if you have to put something a little bit extra into it to to give that spark, to give that umph to where you're not drained because you're drained too at the end of the day because you've
Hmm.
worked all day as well. So you may have to just step it a little bit. Yeah. So this is available in staff as well. So great. So when I get ready for it, I'm going to exit student view down here at the bottom. And when I get ready to post it, I just post my check in here and the check-in is going to that channel. Now, what's so great about this is because at first we had to go to the channel, click on the review, and because now it's fully embedded within Teams, and I click on reflect, I can then go click on here, see a quick overview of all of my recent reflects that I have sent out. So since back here in July 12th, you see how far back that was, almost a month ago, and it's still holding on to that. So if I need to go back to see how students responded, then is there. But one thing that I'm going to cross over here is, Amy, you see this right here?
Mm-hmm.
That little icon, OneNote.
Nice.
Reflect is tying into OneNote as well. All the other ones tells me that it's in a Teams chat channel or in a Teams channel wherever it's posted. I can go there. But here's another area that I want to show you that it is in OneNote. So if you are teachers that you don't have access to Teams or your school district don't want you to use Teams because you're using Schoology, Canvas, or some other LMS type style platform, but they will allow you to use OneNote class notebook. You can then come to OneNote class notebook, and if you had a class notebook open, which it doesn't seem like I have one open up here, but I'm just going to go and open it up here. So let's go dive back into the class notebook that we were working in at first. So in my class notebook, it should populate a tab here. When it knows you have created a class notebook, it will populate a class notebook ribbon. And on that class notebook ribbon, it has reflect. So you can also build a reflect here as well and then tell it what page you want this to populate on. But Amy, guess what? We went from various question stems within Teams in that reflect angle. But when I click on this reflect, it gives me questions related to the sense of learning, the sense of engagement. So my questions, their confidence to succeed, satisfaction with their progress, their motivation to learn, understanding of content, their prior knowledge, their level of effort. So it kind of breaks it down. So if I click on their understanding the content, so how well do you understand blah blah blah? So I can then populate this on whatever channel I want this to be on. But how well do you understand the theory? Maybe we'll go. Did I spell it right? If I didn't spell it right, uh,
You hit it right the first time.
okay.
EO.
See, my mind's playing tricks on me. How well do you understand the theory? So here's an open question that I could then say add check in to page. So it pretty much added this check in. Oh, because I put it up here in the title, right? I got to be careful. Let me click down here, add check in to page. So here it is right here. So then when my students go in to do this check-in, they could then click on one of these symbols. Now, when they click on this symbol, you see it opened up another tab because they have to be signed into OneNote to be able to get to it. And then here it is right here. So then they can go in then and then choose their emotion because I'm the teacher. I populated it. If it was shared with students, then Amy's store right now is that one student in my class, and it shows me she hasn't responded yet. But no big deal, Amy. I'm just showing what it looks like on the teacher end to where if I go and click on that, it will bring me to my results. So it's fairly quickly to add that in, but I like the question stems that they have because it takes us back to the sense of learning what is meant for in the class notebook. The class notebook is meant for student learning, for students understanding a certain type of theory or concept that we're talking about. And if you hadn't started using OneNote with students, it's a great tool because one thing I'm going to touch on while I'm here, Amy, students can do sketchnoting. They could then go forth and do math problems, create their own quizzes, which we'll talk about in a few seconds or so when we get there. But Amy, do you have anything else you would like to add to that?
Yeah, I just love that the reflect piece is built into both spaces. Like you said, just in case Teams is not something they use and OneNote is, they can get into that and still meet the needs of their students based on their social emotional learning and how they're feeling for that day. It's just a great check-in, quick temperature check of your students. And sometimes your quietest students will share more in spaces like this than they would out loud to a teacher. So you may be able to find more insight into some of your students by using a tool like this one.
Awesome. Yes, yes. And so as we proceed on, Amy, great feedback. But two, I want to show you this. And I'll probably just show it on the screen because I missed the button or whatnot. So we'll just show it on the screen here. Um, as far as Microsoft's enhancements, they have enhanced like a together mode when you like in a Teams meet and you have like 10 to 50 people within one meet. I don't know if you ever really seen this. Remember during the pandemic, the NBA, they was playing inside of a bubble.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
And in that bubble, Microsoft was the vendor chosen to do their live streaming, to invite guests from home who was watching the game, and it looks like they're sitting in the stands. Well, this where that concept came from.
I did not know that.
Because Microsoft did that in Teams, and it looked like those who were connected there, you saw their faces or whatever,
Hmm.
and it looked like they were sitting in seats.
Yeah.
This is that idea. Okay.
Ah.
So they just brought it over and made it student friendly. So the teacher can come here and it's a button here that will say together view. And it will bring all of the emotions together. So as an overview, I could see, can I just say it like this? Take the temperature of my classroom
Hmm.
in together view. So it kind of brings them all together, but you can hide the names or you can put the names as well there. It's totally up to you, but this was an update that was just released. And that's why I wanted to show it. It just makes it look kind of more fun, right?
And I love that you can hide student names. Love that.
Mhm. Yes. All right. So our next feature is one, Amy, that I know you've talked about what, how many months now? A year
I
now,
love it.
maybe?
I love it.
Is reading progress. And one thing that we will see here that Microsoft brought this on in reading progress and because we want to free teachers up. It's like almost like we want to give teachers the gift of time. And so Microsoft has identified four areas, provide more frequency, fluency, practice opportunities for students because we know literacy is a big deal now. It never has not been a big deal, but is really a big deal for Microsoft to promote literacy as much as possible, to track the student's progress. Anytime a student does a progressive reading passage, it kind of shows their progression along the way. It differentiates for various reading levels. And when we do this, we would identify differentiation is a key thing when it comes to working with students on various reading levels, where we can spend more time teaching instead of more time. I don't know, but Amy, when I was in the classroom, I kind of thought about, and it was really in elementary school,
Mhm.
where I had to get my students to do their work and then call over a child at one time, have my timer, and I had to do their reading fluency. I mean, that took some time.
Very time consuming. I was just talking to a teacher today because most schools do beginning, middle, and end of the year
That's where I was gonna go.
assessments. Yeah, and it's extremely time consuming because it's one student at a time, and so you really have to give your students in your class something to work on. So you as a teacher can pull them one on one, and they only give you so much time to do it, like a testing window, and this
Uh-huh.
is just such a great tool, like you said, to buy back some of that time for teachers to give them more time to teach what they are meant to do. I just love it. I think it's a great tool for teachers.
Oh, yes, yes. And then with this new rollout, with this improvement, and I'm gonna dive right into it to show you what it looks like. But I'm gonna also touch on reading coach while I'm there, so you can see. But we want to touch on reading progress, what helps students with fluency, which we would say, and save time, and it tracks the progress. But not only that, reading coach allows students when they're reading aloud and it's recording them words that they mispronounce, or we would say that they mess up on, just to keep it plain and simple. Word are words that they may have skipped. It pulls those words out, and then so it gives them extra practice. How to pronounce the word, if there's a picture to go with the word, if they need a different voice, slower, whatever the case may be, you could do that. So watch this. I really love this when I saw this as far as a new tool within the classroom. And so within reading progress, I would go click on assignments, uh, create a new assignment. And when I create that new assignment, I'm just going to do a fairly quick walkthrough, click on attach, and then here's reading progress here. Now, if you already had a passage that you would like to upload, there's a Word document or a PDF, you can upload that as well, because we do know in your BOI, or well, let's just say it like this, in your fluency kits, there may be certain passages that your students are required to read. So why don't you scan that, make it as a PDF, and then you can then upload as a PDF. But if you're just giving your students practice, you can go and browse the sample library. And now they have broken this off by grade level. Secondary means grades 7 to 12, just to kind of put it in perspective. 7 to 12, and then it's still broken off by Lexile level. Okay, so that's up to you. But we both were third grade teachers, so we click on third grade. It's just listing it out. It's a filter, and it's listing out for us the text that is there. So if I'm going to select this text for my students to read, I just click on it, select it, and then what I do is here is the passage here. I can go into student view to see how that looks. So they actually put student view there. So as a teacher, I can experience what the students will experience, so I can help my students along the way. But here's the identifier areas that I wanted to talk about. Here is something new. The number of attempts. How many times do you want them to be able to read this to go through to get it right? If I'm working on my BOY, MOY, EOY, is only one time, right? So that's only one time they will get. But here's the greatest thing too. They were timed. They were timed. So now this is a new additive. So let's say they have 2 minutes to read. Pronunciation, sensitivity, always just leave it alone, but you can check if you just want to see what's there. But not only that, reading coach. After they read, do I want them to get help afterwards to go into that coach mode? So in this coach mode, you can leave it on as it already comes on by default, but you can click on edit. Here's where those extra areas are. So if I say play the word,
Atmosphere. Atmosphere.
or if I want to stretch the word, I can stretch the word and it syllabatizes it and see a picture of it.
Love that.
Okay. Now you hey, wow, this is the new piece. Now you can say for those helps, maybe I don't want it to play the word. Maybe I don't want it to stretch the word. Maybe I don't want it to show the picture when the student is on the coach side. Okay. So whatever you turn off over here, when they get to the coach side, it's not going to be available for them. But why would we do that, right? Because we want them to get help as much as possible. Okay, so do I want to show the tools at the beginning or after one try? Okay. Do I want to change the voice of the person who pronounces the word, or more supportive? After watching a video and being more supportive, it was kind of broken down as like the elementary grades K to 6, you would be more supportive if need be, and then grades 7 to 12, I may have a more direct approach. That's how it was pretty much broken down. But you can identify here, select the tone that suits your class best. So some people have that straightforward tone, like it's a more intense type of tone, and some people have that more relaxed. Okay, sweetie, let me give you a pat on the back, and you can do it. A more supportive type of way. But you do that. Once you get all that set, then you click next, And then what that does is it's going to bring you back to your assignment portal. Then you just continue on to enter the title, do your instructions or whatever, and you can go on from there. And then you can choose your date where you want it to go. But my assign is grayed out. So because I hadn't entered some things that is necessary for this to go through. But you get the picture, you get the point. You just go to and assign. And then once your students will get that on the channel that you posted on, so you may have in your classroom a channel in Microsoft Teams that is called Reading Progress. And then that's where all of your reading progresses will go, along with the reading coach area there. So thank you so much. Hopefully you gleaned something from there. We have about 29 minutes left. Amy, you have anything to add on Reading Progress, Reading Coach?
Yeah, the reading progress is great because what it does is it listens to the student read the passage, and while it's listening to that student read, so the student could be at a space in your room. You're still teaching your class. They're just going to a space in your room to read this passage. They could do it from home if they wanted to as well, but it's recording them. I think they can have their camera on or off. I think that's
Yes,
an
they can.
option.
Yeah.
And it's picking up on how they're doing. And then once they're done, it's marking them, much like you do with your pencil. When you pull them out in the hallway and start to record their fluency, it's marking them as well. But you can also go back in and adjust as needed. But it's buying back, like we said, some of that time for you so you can get back to what you were meant to do, which was teaching.
Well, then when I start to think back on this, if we kind of really think about it, the system in a way, yes, is grading it for you, but we have to go and like really still touch each one of them and listen to it, right?
Definitely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would always encourage them to go back and I mean, I'm assuming this is run through AI. So AI is not foolproof. So you always want to go back and listen. Of course, it's always great to listen to your student read. You get a lot of information and data by just leaning in and listening to your students as they read. But the progress part, this tool just does some of that heavy lifting for you. So you can
Yeah.
then just go back and adjust as needed.
Awesome. Thank you for your feedback. Well, thank you for your add-ons to that. Mhm. All right, so we're going to click assign, and then when we assign it, it comes into our assign list, and then this is what I did. All right, so we don't have any other questions to that. I would like to move on to the next thing I would believe that's going to blow all of our minds, and it is OneNote live captions. Did you know that existed?
Not until you told me that earlier. I had no idea. So I am eager to learn from you, my friend.
Now me and you know we have experienced live captions in PowerPoint.
Yep.
And whenever we show that, people just start what? Just all excited, right? Well, this did me the same way. I was like, no way. What? Okay, so there's a process. Now you see OneNote and you see Microsoft Translator. Okay, both of these tools work hand in hand to make this happen. You would first have, and I probably should have put translate first and then into OneNote because that's how it has to happen. So it has to be translator first, and then OneNote should be there with the join code. So let's show you how that works. And I'll just quickly just do a step-by-step on it. So here's Microsoft Translator already here. And what I love about Microsoft Translator, it allows you to use it either using Microsoft or our friend Google. So it doesn't matter which account you have, you must start it off this way. But please note that with OneNote, the only way you can have a OneNote account is because OneNote is Microsoft. So you would have to have a Microsoft account, whether it's a personal account or whether it's a school account. It's what they call it professional then. A personal or professional account of OneNote is free. Just go to onenote.com and you can use it with your students, right? They just need to have an active email address to be able to access it. But here, since we're here, we're just going to click on Microsoft. And I'm just going to go ahead and sign in. I just left it there so you can see that I wasn't already signed in and how easy it is to sign in. So with me, I would go and start a conversation. And in starting the conversation, I want to have my mic on, of course. And then for some reason, because I tried it out and tested it, you do need to have this turned on, where it says mute others, and then I just click OK. When I then click OK, here is the code that I would need to give my students. So the conversation is starting. It is listening to my microphone. It is taking the transcript at this time, and the transcript will not pick up until I go into my actual notebook and I click on insert. Is it on insert? No, it's on view. I'm sorry. It's on view because you want to view the captions. So then I click on live captions. It opens up, and then I'm going to click on my join code. There we go right there. And then I can choose. Here's the biggie, Amy. I can choose from 67 languages
Wow.
what I want this to transcribe into. 67 languages. I'm just going to keep it straight English. And I click Dutch. I'm going to click English and then click join. The moment I do that, it is capturing what I am saying as a presenter. So if a student is in the room, they are in a lecture, they can be sitting in the back of the classroom and they can be taking their notes as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and click, let me add in a page, and I can be taking my notes from that day, right? I can be just taking my notes, taking my notes, taking my notes. And one thing you see is the transcriptions just keep going, right? The professor, let's pretend, is still talking. My teacher is still talking along the way. But they said something really great. I can go up here and pause the transcript, and then I can choose my highlighters, and I can go and highlight a certain point. Okay, 67 languages. All right. Sitting in back of the room. I'm going to use another highlighter, another color, and I'm going to choose just something so you can kind of see. So then that goes there. And then remember in Immersive Reader, which we'll get to, it has the AA, right? That's just my font. How large do I need the font? So I can go click resume. And now you would think on, like, the last thing is along the way, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now you would think it's not going to pick up everything I've just been saying. Let me click resume, and then it picked up everything. When I
Wow.
paused, it still was working on the backside
That's really
and
neat.
capturing everything. So even if I paused it, I may be like, oh, I missed something. I'm going to miss something if I pause. No, it's still keeping that recording going on the backside. Now you have noticed something here that this is going on, and I'll let it continue to feed in as I'm talking about my next point. In your notebook, it automatically creates a transcript section. So if I leave class and like, man, I missed a part, I want to go back and replay what was said, what voices was heard, I can click on transcript. Here was a transcript that I did earlier today. Here is my transcript from now. And so when this conversation ends, this transcript also will update. So how do I end it? Teachers, don't forget to end it, because you don't want class to be ended. Then you start talking about something else. So you come over here and then you just end the conversation. Okay, now that conversation ended, you don't see a red recording button here anymore. And I go back to OneNote. It says transcript is saved, but then it's going to go back and do its uploading here and give me a refresh on the latest thing that I had talked about. So that should populate over, because it said just end. So that should populate over, so it will auto update itself. Anything you have to add, Amy?
That's really
Amazing.
cool. And something I was thinking about too, if they go back and want to look at these, but they want to have it read aloud to them, they could just click Immersive
Ooh.
Reader and have it read it aloud
Ooh.
to them.
Yes. So you're just crossing us right over into Immersive Reader. You want to speak about that?
Yeah, I was just thinking earlier when you were showing me the OneNote feature, like Microsoft is like top of the game when it comes to accessibility tools, in my opinion. They are just in it to win it when it comes to supporting not only students, but all learners. And this immersive reader is one of my absolute favorites. I throw it in almost every session I present on because it's such a powerful tool that many don't know are built in to platforms like Wakelet and Wonderopolis and
Yes.
Buncee, etc. But you're able to come in here and take text and pop it open into what looks like a new tab. It actually is just, it's the same tab. It's just
Much
making
cleaner
it look a
look.
little different. Yeah. You can have the text read aloud to you. You can change the language, which I think is a really powerful piece. I love that there's the option to add colored overlays onto the text that supports your learners with any sort of reading difficulties. I worked with lots of students who required those in class, and it's just a great built-in feature for students just to make it a little bit easier on their eyes to read and to comprehend. It's just full of so many features that support all learners. Like I said, it's just one of my favorite tools. And I love the translation feature, not only because it translates the text, but it will read the text in that translated language, which I think is one of the most powerful pieces here. I love it. I could talk about it all day.
Yeah, so I was just going on as you were talking, just demoing this on the screen. And so you said translation, and I would like to show that here. And so I just select Spanish, Spanish Mexico, and then here at the top, it automatically went into Spanish. Then often people say, will it read it in Spanish? Yes.
67 idiomas. Solo voy a mantenerlo en inglés directo y haré clic en holandés. Voy a hacer clic.
And I can go back to the original. So this, for me, I take it as an extra step, Amy, not only with students with reading challenges, but how about those who are trying to learn another language?
Definitely.
So they know how it's written, like for our middle school and high school. I wish I had this when I was taking French, when it
Yeah.
was, I could just change that to French and say, okay, here's what I want to say in English, but let me see what it looks like in that second language.
Yeah. And it supports our families too. Like if you, like, for example, if you used a tool like Wakelet for your newsletters and you were sending it home to families who spoke a different language, they could translate it at the click of a button to get that content, that text to
Yes.
them. It's just so powerful. You have to check it out.
Yes. Awesome. So you gave us a quick overview, but we are going to leave you with resources where you guys can go back and then glean from this information that we're showing you, because we know that is powerful.
Definitely.
The Math Solver app. The Math Solver app is really great too when we're starting back into school. And I did already bring that website up for you, so it's click and ready to go. But when you go to math.microsoft.com, you're able to pull up this Math Solver. Now it could do very simple math, 2 plus 2, and it can do the very complicated math, as you see with limits. When I kind of saw these examples like limits, I was like, whoa, now I know I was an expert in math, but this integration, that's kind of beyond.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the 2 plus 2.
Right. Now I can do this with no problems. The linear equation, right? What's the missing variable? So here you see just that quick, and I clicked it too quickly for you, but I'm just going to choose an example that they have, or you can actually type it in here, and then you have a math calculator that is here for you as well. But let me just go ahead and just click this example. Clicking this example, you see what it does. Here was my equation from the original spot, and then it shows the students the selection steps, and it uses that mathematical language. Okay, if you ever find that there's a problem that's not right, you can contact Microsoft and make a suggestion, but please note it may not happen overnight where the change is happening, but we do rely upon those educators that are in the trenches and know what that vocabulary is, that language is, where we can help the students to identify so they can start speaking in those terms. But like Amy said, here is our friend. That friend will speak out to them, read to them step by step how they came up with the answer. But those of us who want our students to graph it, here it is as a graph. they can come and take a linear quiz. So I click on it, it's generating a quiz for me. So then the students can get that extra practice on how to solve those problems. So this would also help us as well. I mean, I wish I had this when I was in school, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna brag. I was an excellent mathematician. I'm kind of rusty, but if you get me back into the throws, I can jump back on this again. And I was a whiz at that. Now I was a challenge reader. I was one of those students who was a challenge reader. But if you can give me a systematic process to go by step, and how to solve equations and math problems and quadratics and the Pythagorean theorem, I can do all of that. I was a whiz at that. But now I'm just growing a little rusty because now I think they've come up with these other different type of math in school. I'm
And
like,
now,
what is
and now
that?
you're helping your daughters, and this is beneficial.
Yes. Do you have the math solver app? Dad, I need. Do you have math solver app? Yes, yes. So great. So this is a tool that too as well. I know that many of our students and even us, we probably wouldn't struggle if we had something like this. So this is showing us that Immersive Reader, it is embedded too. But the Math Solver app is in Edge. It's embedded in Edge, and you can follow these instructions and how to get to it. Is also within OneNote, that if you have a math problem in OneNote, it will solve it for them, very similar to the math solver online. And then they can also generate quizzes for themselves right within OneNote. We've shown you the online piece, so I think that's self-explanatory, and that's the website at the bottom. But also, you can put it on your mobile apps, your mobile devices, phones and tablets. Wonderful. Now, remember we were talking about learning tools. And learning tools is pretty much, this is a, what they call this, Amy?
It looks
A
like a
peer,
periodic table.
that's where I'm going. Microsoft calls this a periodic table of where the learning tools are found within its applications itself. Now we know they need to upgrade it because in green is Flipgrid. It's no longer called Flipgrid, it's called Flip.
Microsoft Flip.
Yeah, Flip. So they have to just go and update and just to change a few terms or whatever. But this is where their learning tools are found. So if you ever want to know, for example, what has the read aloud, well, you can go down here and see where's their read aloud functionality found. When we were talking about math and equations. Now, here's a drawback where I want to just point out to you. Word, where it has Word, PowerPoint, when it talks about math and equations, it's not so much as what we looked at with the Math Solver app. Now, OneNote could do what the Math Solver app does, but not Word. It's just a equation generator. So if you were making worksheets and you needed to type out the equations like it is, so you can print it out, how with the fraction bar, the numerator, denominator, or you needed to have a subscript or whatever, it kind of puts those abilities there for you. The same thing with PowerPoint desktop. The same thing with forms. So if you're building a form quiz and you wanted the expressions to look exactly how it's supposed to look mathematically, it has those functions there for you. Just to clarify. But go and check out all the learning tools because we won't be able to touch on everything like the page colors, syllables, line focus, parts of speech, picture dictionary, translation, the dictation tool. Go check that out, okay? And just dive into those things and they'll tell you where those tools are found there. My colleague Amy has already touched on Immersive Reader, but Immersive Reader could be active on your desktop, laptop computers. It could also be used on your tablets, and it could also be used on your mobile device. And one thing you notice that each device, each piece is touching on that book with the speaker, touching on that icon that we have there. I know that if Amy was talking to you, Amy would then touch upon where Immersive Reader is found. And you see there, Amy, Wonderopolis, your favorite tool as
My
well,
favorite.
in the middle there. So Amy has created these Some people say GIFs, GIFs, good GIF for us. And we will be sharing this presentation along with you. Well, we will be sharing it with you, not along with you, but we will be sharing this presentation with you that you can glean, but it's non-downloadable and non-editable. But you can certainly get on here, go to the presentation, and then see what we have for you. When we speak about Immersive Reader, and we said Immersive Reader has several partners that it is in, and you can see in this list all the partners that they work with. I believe there was a recent announcement that Immersive Reader is now in Schoology and Blackboard,
Oh, nice. Very cool.
and so it's not added to this list as of yet,
Mm-hmm.
but that announcement has been made recently. Well, we have about a good 8 minutes now to go. Your achievement code for this session is showing up on the screen. But the only way that you can redeem this achievement code is you have to have an account already made at docs.microsoft.com. And then, too, if you already have an active Microsoft Learn account, you can actually just use this link down here and then click on that link, and then it'll take you to the Redeem portal channel for that. And you just click on Redeem and done. You don't have to worry about entering the code if your account is already set. But as you know, we don't like to just say things without showing you where it is and what to do. Now, if you come and you have an active account, you can go and just click on your silhouette if you have a picture there already, or it may just be a silhouette up in the right-hand corner, and you can click on settings. Not settings, no, it's on profile. Now I'm losing out everywhere. Click on profile, and then click on achievements. And when you click on achievement, here it is, redeem your code now. And then you just enter the code here and then click redeem. Just straightforward and simple. Now you may come again and say, Stephen, what's the code again? Well, here is the code. Okay, 8LZM4J. That is the code. Is it case sensitive? I have never tried to enter it in lowercase letters. I've always used caps, so that's my disclaimer. So you may want to type it exactly how you see it, and then click redeem. Before we go, we would like to give you a treat. And you may have been taking notes and watching this, but we want to give you this as a treat. Here are some things that we have curated for you that if you go into your loader and you would type in this particular link, it will bring you to a graphic similar to this. And we've broken it down by Microsoft Learn courses where you can take and get credit, basically where we just came from in issuing you the code. You can also glean from YouTube. There's some real quick YouTube videos from our friend Mike Tolson, and he explains things very well. And so the things that we've gone over today, you can go through and glean from these videos to also enhance your abilities and take your abilities to the next level. We also have an interactive learning portal. So what this means is that when you enter this portal, it will talk to you, explain things to you, and then before you can move on, you just simply have to click in the area that it wants you to click, and then you can move on to the next thing. So we pride ourselves on that, and Microsoft has brought it to you free as well. Now, friEd Online is our asynchronous learning school. And we have created a course, Amy, myself, along with our colleague. I call her New Girl. She's gonna get mad at me. But we have us three. We created the fundamentals of Microsoft 365. Now, this is our approach as far as being educators. This is built by educators for educators. So this is our approach to give to you not only the how to, but to use and integrate with students, and I call infuse with students in the classroom. This is going to be our launching pad. So there'll be many more courses to come. How do you use Microsoft tools effectively within the classroom? So you can get this 12-hour course, 12-hour course for $30. That's a steal. That's a steal. And it's a limited time offer. Our normal 12-hour courses go for roughly over $200, but you can get it this limited time offer for $30. So now we have about 4 minutes left. We don't want to waste your time, but we want to let you know our next live is September 8th. You can go ahead and start registering now. It is live and ready to go to save your spot so you can get an alert for this session. And if you would like to evaluate us, we always like to grow and to get better in everything that we do. So we know we gave you a broad overview of what Microsoft can do, and we were just in that how-to mode just to kind of whet your palate. But at any time you would like to reach out to us, please do so, and we could create an experience like you've never had before that would just knock your socks off. From me, myself, Stephen Stone, and then my colleague, Amy. I think Amy didn't want to say anything now. Amy Storr. Thank you for spending this time with us, and we're letting you out early, 3 minutes. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.